All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to another great episode on your favorite political talk show, The Truth, with Ben Jokes. Now, Nigeria under the APC is decaying at an alarming rate. There are several sectors that make up a nation. We have the economy, the security, national symbols, legislature, judiciary, educational sector, and so on and so forth. If 2 or 3 sectors are not working, at least let us see that others are working. If we have a situation where every single sector is not just stagnant but retrogressing, then it is a disaster. Under the APC, our laws have completely become a joke. We know we have always had issues with people, disobeying the Nigerian constitution, but what we are seeing under the APC today is a complete shame, a total disgrace. How fundamental human rights are being trampled upon. Few hours ago, the Muslims in Katsina and Bauchi states completely trampled on the fundamental human rights of children and Christians by closing down all private schools because of Ramadan. Whether you are a Muslim or not, you are not allowed to go to school because of Ramadan. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that update from the Senate representing Kogi Central, Senator NATASHA began making the rounds. NATASHA has finally spilled the beans. She said Senate President AKPABIO made sexual advances at her in his luxury mansion, and even her husband was a witness to it. And of course, that incident marked the beginning of their bitter rivalry. She actually said this live on TV. For AKPABIO, it is one day, one trouble, and for Nigeria, it is just a sad case, regardless of what further investigations on this matter prove. Before I show you details of these top stories and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this video. The speaker in this video did not hold back. He called a spade and blamed Tinubu for the present chaos in the Lagos State House of Assembly. See the video.
The president has not waded in the matter. We have not heard the president speak. What we've been hearing is that the Governor's Advisory Council has reported the matter to the president. And I can tell you, if the Obasa is not enjoying the backing of Abuja, by extension the president, he will not be doing what he's doing. Who ordered the police that were running around with him today? The president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. So if the president waded in, he definitely would have reigned in Obasa. But tacitly, he probably enjoys the support of the Mr. President, and that is why he's doing what he's doing. That is why the state is helping him to resort to self-help instead of waiting for the outcome of the court. And so when we say what is the way forward, the law is clear. Section 92, subsection 2, paragraph C is very clear. And if you feel that processes or that the House rules have not been followed, there is a court. If what we are encouraging, if this is allowed to stand, you might be shocked that in the next election, some persons might not even want to go to court. They might decide to resort to self-help. Since the federal government has supported resorting to self-help in Lagos State, the way forward is simple. The rule is the rule. The law is the law. If you have submitted to the jurisdiction of the court, Obasa should sit down and wait. This attempt, how do you say you are taking stock and you withdrew police? You have enough police to attach to Obasa to go back to the house, but you don't have enough to give to the lady that had been nominated and appointed as speaker by her colleagues. And then we are talking about insecurity in Nigeria. You have that number of policemen for one person in the house. And we shouldn't have these shenanigans. The idea is simple. The law is the law. The majority of the members have said, we have removed this man as speaker. If not for the backing of Abuja, he stands removed. All of this is trying to hold on to straw, and which should not be allowed to stand. And we can't pretend about this, that this is democracy. And that is why I feel very aggrieved that somebody like President Tinubu, who has been a bastion of democracy, who had consistently fought, even at the APC meeting a couple of days ago, spoke so much about democracy. And yet look at the kind of democracy that we are seeing him supporting in Lagos State. It should not be allowed to stand.
You heard that. You know, the level of hypocrisy in Nigeria can be baffling sometimes. Some people have been coming on air to say that they are waiting for Tinubu to speak on the current saga in the Lagos State House of Assembly so that there will be peace. As if Tinubu has not already spoken loud and clear. Inspector General of Police withdrew security from the new speaker, Honorable Mojisola Miranda, and the impeached speaker Obasa is moving around with almost 50 DSS officers, almost 30 policemen, and you are still deceiving yourself that Tinubu is not the one backing him. Don't worry. Just as the man in that interview said, in the next election, people will no longer go to court if they are not declared winners. Just get agberos and arm some boys and then break into the office, since that is the pattern that we want to be following. That is what Tinubu has reduced this country to. What a shame. Now, watch Obasa in this interview. You will see guilt written all over him. Watch this short clip of Seun Okinbaloye trying to quiz the impeached speaker, Mudashiru Obasa, who forcefully broke into the Lagos State House of Assembly. See the video.
Good evening. It's interesting. You showed up today. Your colleague said they've removed you. You are no longer the speaker. And from what we understand, that you forced your way into the office of the speaker. Why did that happen?
First, if I hear you clearly, first.
Yeah, because Honorable Miranda has been in that office. But from what we gathered, that you had your way and you moved into the speaker's office against...
You just said forced. Forced.
Did you force your way? Did you force your way, Honorable Obasa?
I'm surprised and I'm wondering, how did you come about the word forced? Is it possible to force yourself into an institution of so many people and security personnel? So how do you achieve that? Is it possible?
So how did you get your way? Because as soon as you were removed by your colleagues, Honorable Miranda moved in.
Yeah, I've always said this, that I've never been removed from office. And I'm not against removal. But if you are going to do that, you must follow, the rules of the house.
You saw that. Thugs who found their ways to power. What a pathetic situation. You filed a petition to court. You said you were wrongly impeached. You know you and your boss control the court. So it's a matter of you just meeting the judges and telling them to rule in your favor. But the agbero in you could not wait for the court. So you took laws into your hands. What a shame. Now, let us look at the top stories. First is that story on the breach of fundamental human rights of children and Christians in Katsina and Bauchi states as Hisbah police closes down schools because of Ramadan. And next is that video. Senator NATASHA accuses Senator AKPABIO of making sexual advances at her. Let's start by taking that update from Katsina and Bauchi states. Look at how the papers reported it. Katsina Islamic Morality Police, Hisbah, orders closure of private schools over Ramadan to observe holy month, Sahara reporters. The Katsina state government has ordered the closure of all private schools in the state for the duration of Ramadan. In a circular issued by the Katsina State Hisbah Board, the government warned that failure to comply would have consequences. The circular, dated February 27, 2025, was signed by the Commandant General Aminu Usman. In accordance with the Katsina State government's directive, all private schools are required to close during the Ramadan period to allow pupils to fully observe the holy month, the statement read. The directive also includes extra lessons. The Hisbah board urges all school proprietors to strictly comply, as non-compliance will not be tolerated. May Allah accept our fast and grant us his blessings, the statement concluded. Sahara reporters previously reported that Bauchi State had issued a similar directive ordering all schools, including private ones, to shut down for 5 weeks. According to the directive, schools in Bauchi will remain closed from February 26, 2025 until the end of Ramadan and the Salah celebration, with classes resuming on April 5th. You heard that. I hope the Yorubas are listening. If you allow them to bring Sharia law to Yoruba land, this is one of the madness you will begin to witness in your region. Tomorrow, someone will be telling us that Sharia law does not affect non-Muslims. Have you seen that all that is not true? Hisbah police is not even in the Nigerian constitution, but they are more powerful than the Nigerian police in northern Nigeria. And look at how Nigerians reacted. Let's take some of the tweet reactions. This tweet here says, thank God says some part of Nigeria are a Christian country. Now, so these people for shut schools down, and government of that country will say nothing because now two different countries, Nigeria be. That is the issue. This country has been divided by religion. And Oga Mayor here says, meanwhile, in an Arabic country, the focus is on Friday and they make provisions for online learning. Emphasis on Friday, and yet the private schools are not compelled to do this. Other days are school days with adjustments to the timings for obvious reasons. Hisbah is crazy. Nigerians can't even carry Islam for head past Saudi Arabia and Qatar. And Danjuma Yakubu here says, I think it is very important that the government should put a stop to this religious rascality in the north in the name of promoting Islam. Is this the first Ramadan period in Nigeria? This is a total failure. Well, this one is under a Muslim ticket, so they can do as they want. What a shame. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that video from Senator NATASHA Akpoti accusing Godswill AKPABIO of sexually harassing her began making the rounds. See the video.
Many people do not know what I'm about to say, but I'm going to speak my own truth. And the Senate President is allowed to counter that. It all started on the 8th of December, 2023, which was a day before his birthday and my birthday. We are birthday mates. We were all in Akwa Ibom because he had a big fanfare in the stadium. Myself, my husband, and a few of his close friends, we went to Akwa Ibom. And at first, we were at Ikot Ekpene. We were in his house in Ikot Ekpene. Then we all moved to his house in Uyo, which was about 8 p.m. And he held my hand and said he wanted to show me around his house. My husband was walking behind us, just three of us. We're walking around from room to room. He showed me the beautiful interior. This was done by this, by that, this designer here, he bought this from us. Like, oh, it's beautiful. And then I noticed that he hastened his pace while still holding my hand. And my husband was behind, still on his phone, but he was catching up whenever he could. And then he got to this particular sitting room, and he said, do you like my house? I said, of course, sir. Every room, beautiful, nice interior, quality taste. He said, now that you're a senator, I'm going to create a time for us to come spend quality moments here. You will enjoy it. At that point, I just pulled away, and I was like, I don't really understand what exactly that meant. But then my husband now, when I turned around, I saw my husband was already near me. And the way my husband looked at me and looked at him, I was beginning to wonder, did he hear part of that inciting statements or not? And then the Senate President, too, I saw that he also had that thought, like, did my husband hear the invitation to treat or not? So then the Senate President now said, oh, by the way, let me show you my chapel. He has a chapel in his house as well. So while we were going to the chapel, you know, we walked in silence and all. So that evening, before we left the Senate President's house at about 11 midnight to the 4 points in Ikot Ekpene. And my husband asked me, Natasha, what did the Senate President whisper to you? What's he telling you? I thought, should I tell him that he was speaking about bringing me in here at a special time for us to have a good time? Or should I just kill it there, wrap it as if there was nothing? Because tomorrow was a big day. I know how much my husband adores the Senate President. He loves him as a brother. My husband would do anything to support him. So I told my husband, nothing. I can't remember what I created, but I just gave him some words to manage, to mask what was said. When we laid in bed, I laid to my right, and my husband wrapped his arms around me, and he said, my love, you know you can't tell me anything. What did the Senate President tell you? Again, I was like, don't you believe me? I said, nothing. Nothing. Moreover, it's my birthday in a few minutes. Let's just be happy. Then my husband told me he doesn't want to see me travel out of the country alone, and I should not go to the Senate President's house because he has a guest house where many senators do go there, after office to get approvals and all that.
Wow. Wow. Maybe when investigations begin, Natasha will come up with some concrete proofs, but as it stands, it is her words, her husband's words versus AKPABIO's words. And honestly, if I am asked to say how I feel, I will go by AKPABIO's character. Natasha is a lesser evil than AKPABIO. So I tend towards believing Natasha than Godswill AKPABIO. Yes, that is it. If you have a terrible character on issues like this, you cannot blame people if they conclude that you are guilty without, proofs. Because your antecedents are what people will be looking at. I can't think of any politician in the APC that I will not go against if they were in this kind of situation. But if you bring up this kind of, allegation against my principal, Peter Obi, I'll boldly tell you that no, it is a lie. I'm not believing anything until you show me 110% proof. Because his character has shown that he's a man of integrity. So if you're not a man of integrity, you don't expect me to back you in this kind of situation. But honestly, I don't expect any serious official penalty to fall on AKPABIO, in this saga. If anything, I believe it is Natasha, that might lose her seat. She might be expelled if there is anything like that, for an elected official of the Senate, But this is just so bad for Nigeria. I don't want to start bashing AKPABIO based on Natasha's words, even though I believe her, but that is personally, for me. I can't bash AKPABIO based on that. All I can say is that the APC has completely ridiculed and ruined this country, and it's just a shame. And look at how Nigerians reacted. Let's take some of the tweet reactions. This tweet here by Wisdom says, "Matters are rising. So all this brouhaha was because Natasha refused to sleep with AKPABIO. Natasha just alleged that AKPABIO is using his privileges as the presiding officer of the Senate to curry sexual favors. I expected AKPABIO to know that issues concerning women are delicate." And Wyclomi here says, "How can you convincingly prove these allegations? You are bringing personal issues into the matter. Men of positions and wealth, be careful with women. He that asserts must prove the assertion, says the law." And Kevin says, "The husband is a star witness." The husband is a witness in this debacle. And Chief here says, "It is going to be a very long, rough week ahead for us. Mr. Senate President should first of all step down. But hey, this is Nigeria, an unrealistic place." And Olasukomi says, "All I can say is wow. I am waiting for the Senate President to counter her assertion." Ogbeni Abdrazak says, "This is a disgrace to the Nigerian Senate. If AKPABIO cannot debunk this allegation, our legislative system has been actualized for the welfare of Nigerians during the led legislative of Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki. Let's reverse the time to witness how Saraki made it excellently." I'm telling you, what the likes of Saraki and others did, was tarnished when APC came into power and they began controlling the Senate. And Hope here says, "My question is, when you know fully well you are going through this in the hands of Senate President, why don't you do a recording anytime you are having a conversation with him in private, so it will not be as your words against his? I wish you have proof now." Well, that is it. There are Nigerians who completely agree with Natasha and who are already bashing AKPABIO, and just as expected, there will be some who would say they don't really believe her allegations. But in all, the Nigerian system has greatly been impacted negatively by the waywardness of our politicians. But this is the APC. I don't expect anything less, because they have come to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And that is why we keep urging Nigerians that if we desire to still have a country at all, we must come together, unite, keep our differences aside, and kick the APC out of power. But until then, make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una. Now I dey here, so don't go away. Don't go.